Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Haskins, a cultologist, and I'm going to be reading from a little book I found called The Power of Breath. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into this, because it's kind of dense. Even the foreword took me like 11 minutes to read. But we're just going to take a look at the contents of this book. So this is The Power of Breath. It's not really a book. What it is, it's a distillation in book form of the practices of Mazdaznan health culture. And this was like a turn of the century neo-Zoroastrian health movement. But let's move forward and see what's inside this book. Cool little pharaoh statue going on. So you know it's great, right? So The Power of Breath, the magic key of self-development. The magic key of self-development. That's by Dr. O.Z.A. Hanish. Alright. So, we got a nice little table of contents. First is the foreword, like always. Then we have the prelude lesson. I just biffed a recording of that, so I have to reread the entire chapter. So after the prelude lesson is the first reading. Then it says the sense of sight. So I guess that's the first reading, is the sense of sight. Then there's an exercise. Then the second reading, sense of hearing. Another exercise. Third reading, the sense of smell. Fourth reading, the sense of taste. Fifth reading, the sense of touch. Sixth reading, the sense of feeling. Seventh reading, intuition. Eighth reading, transmission of ideas. And so these are the development of those senses. Ninth reading is the sense of telepathy. The 10th reading is spiritual discernment. The 11th reading is the sense of clear sight. And the 12th reading is the sense of realization. And all of these have an exercise associated with them. Some of them have two. And then at the end is the Egyptian posture. So let's take a little look. Let's read a little bit and see what's inside there. Get a little sneak peek of what we're going to be doing. Alright, so the prelude lesson. Our objective in life and how to accomplish it. Prayers on the breath. Assurance, or the Ahura's prayer, commonly called the Lord's Prayer. So this one has like a few fundamental principles to get down, and then it has these prayers. The realization prayer, contemplation prayer, the restoration prayer. They're prayers from the Mazdaznan confession. So then it also talks about how to pray, the length of prayers, the position of the body, actions of the mind while you're praying, and then two exercises called the Mazdazna Yima exercise and the Mazdaznan Aryama exercise. The Aryama. Okay, so that's in the prelude reading. Okay, next we have the first reading, which will be tackling the development of man's 12 senses, the life-centralizing principle, Galama, generation of electric fluids through ganglionic action, through ganglionic action. Okay. I kind of know what a ganglion is. Development of brain cells, conditions, physical, spiritual, and intellectual, determined by breath. The purification of the blood by rhythmic breathing. The human body, a perfect instrument. The basic principle of life. Concentration on the breath, and the mother of breath, or the breath of conception. The individual breath and how to attain it. The sense of sight. Breathing exercises. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty cool. Alright, so the second reading, what it's going to tackle is health, an attribute, consciousness, breathing, normalization of the brain functions. So, yeah, we could all use that. The dividing line between imagination and spirituality. That's a good one to understand. The relation of sense organ conditions. The relation of sense to organic conditions. The importance of the position of the spinal column. The care of the feet and their relation to the sense of hearing. Balancing the weight of the body. Breath, equalizer, breathing exercise. So the third reading, what's going to be in there? We have awakening of latent forces, subjectiveness due to lack of concentration, breath adjusts to deficiencies, the process of breathing and its visualizing influence, self-reliance, overcoming suggestion and hypnotic influences, mind and its location, the 3 stages of man's development. How do you say that? Mnemotechnic systems and their falsity. Might be Memno? Or Memno or Mnemotechnic. The true method of concentrating, and then a breathing exercise. Okay. So they all have a breathing exercise at the end. Okay, the fourth reading is going to cover the simplicity of nature, the voice of consequence, the intuition, the observance of phenomena, a few experiments with startling results, deficiencies of the microscope, the variation of form and its cause, the effect of breath. Okay, so the deficiencies of the microscope, again, this is like an old school thing, like old school. They're like pish posh with that science stuff, right? The variation of forms and the cause of the effects of the breath on temperament. How the breath affects the ruach. Let's see. The effects of the breath on the soul. What it is and where is it. Willpower and how to attain it, control of muscles, the power of relaxation, improving the senses of taste and smell, the cure of liquor and tobacco habits, breathing exercise. Sounds pretty cool. And we're only a third of the way through. So the fifth reading will cover the 2 great factors in manifestation, electrism and its source, magnetism and its sphere, the correspondences of our 12 senses with the musical scale, fear, incentive to functional derangement, a demonstration of electricity, the phosphorescent flow through the exercise of will, eradication of disease by the application of breath, breathing exercises. Alright. So the fifth reading is going to cover healing and simulation, forcing of electric fluids, porous action, rising above negative conditions, increasing the sphere of activity of increasing the sphere and activity of magnetic circles, our magnetic atmosphere, the efficiency of prayers without words, scientific application with a grain of common sense, the power controlling all conditions and environments. Breathing exercise. The 7th reading is going to deal with the connections between nervous ganglionic activities and the functions of the brain, universal knowledge in individual cell, the vitalizing fluids and their source, the development of intuition, polarization, the human telegraph system, the central intelligence, the dominant control of all brain activity, the pineal gland and its use, control, and development. Breathing exercise. Alright, the eighth reading is going to cover the universal dynamo and the higher spheres, how to conquer sleeplessness and nervousness, the origin of disease in the nervous system, communication of disease from the nerves to the blood, and from the blood to the flesh, the prevention of disease, the activity of the nervous system during sleep and in waking state, directions for the care of the body, the cross breath, the right way of using it and its purpose. Breathing exercise. So the 9th reading is going to be common sense and existing conditions. Who is to blame? How to change things to suit yourself. The sorrow phenomenon. The sorrows of phenomena hunting. Mediumistic impositions. Tricks of the occultist. Training the power of observation. Marvels of the breath, overcoming organic dislocation. Physical culture on the breath, breathing exercises. Alright, 2 more. This is already a long one. More physical exercises on the breath. An exercise that will straighten crooked spines and relieve impediments of the nerves. Okay, so an exercise that will straighten crooked spine and relieve impediments of the nerves, the cause of paralysis, how to regain and keep control of the body, practical philanthropy, impositions of hypnotism, suggestion, self-hypnotism, the cataleptic state exposed, more exercises in investigation, reason, retain the better part and apply your knowledge. The 11th reading, the ability to see clearly not only the things before and around us, but all that which pertains to the unseen and which has not yet been materialized on the physical plane, but exists unseen. And that's all that's there. No exercise or anything. Just it's about seeing the unseen. Okay. The 12th reading is going to cover what we have accomplished through the 11 senses, how lofty our thoughts might be. Only through the development of the 12th and highest sense do we bring all things into realization, even on the thoughts of God, so that eventually peace may be realized here on earth. Whew. Okay, that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. I'm just going to leave it there. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be covering in the Power of Breath. I'm going to be doing these in 13 segments at the least. And we're going to be working through this book. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Give the video a like, leave a comment, and yeah. Tell me if this is something that intrigues you or not. Alright. Late.